I don't know how to start a video, but I'm Hootless, and this is Stardew Valley Modded 1.3 Episode 2. What's the weather tomorrow? Gonna rain all day. Fine by me. Means my crops will get watered. Also, it's super foggy. So, last episode I explained what basically all the mods do. I don't know why this seed didn't grow. Or this one, for that matter. Weird. Well, this one, yeah, it's a cauliflower, so that one did grow. That one's fine. That seed. I don't know what its deal is. This should be what, Pierre? Yep, Pierre and Willie. So I can go get the fishing rod now, and I can start doing some fishing. There will be a lot of fishing in this series, most likely. Just because I want to see the random fish that show up. I really like seeing the huge varieties of fish. I'll keep this with me, don't need these. And I'll keep the food. I'll put it like this. Alright. Let's go to the beach. That is a lot of dandelions. Or daffodils, excuse me. I always get them backwards. Four daffodils. That's fine, I'll toss them in the shipping bin somewhere. Or I could probably take them to Pierre, right? Well, it's 7, so I can't do that, not yet, but I'll go get the fishing rod to start fishing. I don't believe any of the random fish can show up until you have at least fishing level 2, although I could be mistaken. Or fishing level 1, excuse me. It seems like you just get normal fish until then. Then again, maybe it's random chance. They seem to have, like, slightly better odds. Oh my god, please. Slightly better odds of catching regular fish than catching the random fish, which is good. You know, it's good to be able to get normal fish so frequently, especially because you don't want to end up in a situation where you can't complete bundles. You just, like, can't get the fish you need. And that would be unfortunate. This feels like a halibut. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell because, Jesus, please. Oh, that was a 1-inch sardine. The fishing overhaul mods that I have installed, you can kind of see the not extreme fishing overhaul one right here. I have the settings altered a tiny bit, because I didn't want to catch any trash. And I turned up the treasure thing a little bit because fishing's not very valuable on its own anyways. So just some small tweaks. Your mileage may vary. It's all very configurable in the mods folder in fishing overhaul, the config.json. So just edit the values to whatever you want, and you can play how you want. I play with no trash because I don't like catching trash. You can also edit how hard fish are to catch. I believe I have it at standard Stardew difficulty right now. By default, fish are slightly easier to catch using the fishing overhaul, and you can make it way harder. Like, I put it on 2 times difficulty for a little bit, and even regular sardines felt like trying to catch eels or catfish. It was ridiculous. For some reason, these small fish are a lot harder to catch right now too. I don't know if that's the influence of one mod or another. I'm also not entirely sure if... Oops, I almost got a perfect catch. I'm not sure if the fishing overhaul mods work together when I have them both installed. It's possible that they do, but I have not caught any custom fish while having both installed. And then I removed the one that's doing this thing up here because I thought that they might not work together. And then I started catching the fish. So I don't know if it's just I couldn't catch them at the point that I was trying to catch them, which was when I still had both installed, or if they actually interfere or what. So we will see. And if it ends up being a problem, I can replace it. Again, I can remove it. I mean, wow, 999 of each of these, huh? Alright then, Pierre, you do you. So we'll go back out to the beach. Maybe get lucky with some food in the trash cans? No? Okay, that's fine. One more? Nope, I already checked that one. Let's fish in... No, let's fish in the river, or in the ocean, because we'll be right next to the fish store, and we can just offload them quickly if our inventory gets full, and that'll be fine. So we'll do that. I should really go and check Robin. I'll probably do it tomorrow and see how much a cabin costs to make. Alright. It's so nice being able to catch a fish every time. Like, if you get a pull on the line, you're like, yeah, it's a fish. You don't have to be like, yeah, it's trash half the time. So much nicer, which is why I like playing this way. It does probably make fishing too valuable compared to other things, but I think in general it's better practice to make things good instead of bad. Like, just because other things aren't very good for profitability doesn't mean you should make everything else bad for profitability, like fishing. And that's why I also think that ores should be more valuable to sell if you get them from the mines. Like, you should be able to sell them for about the same amount that you can buy them for from Clint. Right now, they're worth pretty much nothing. But I think it would be a really positive change to make it so that you could sell the ores for a lot more. Especially iridium, which should be worth a lot, even in ore form. And then, of course, you know, if you set prices for the ore and for coal, then it's easy to get the bar price, because you can just be like 5 of the ore and 1 coal. Add it together, that's the price of the bar. Easy peasy. Which is probably how they already do it, but, you know, it's just not very valuable in general. It costs way more to get it from Clint than it does to just go into the mine, and I wish that you could sell it and make some money that way. As it is pretty much the only good way to make a lot of money is farming for huge quantities of money, or like a steady small stream of profits. You can do fishing, but that's not as good in the long run as farming or taking care of animals even. But taking care of animals, you have to have a lot of animals for it to really pay off. Individual products in small amounts don't do much. On a save recently with some friends, we had, what was it, like a coop and a barn? The barn was fully upgraded, both were filled with animals. And we were making a pretty decent chunk of change. Like, between that and fishing, we were getting about 9,000 gold a day before the end of the first year. Which is very good, don't get me wrong. But it's just that it takes a lot of investment to get to that point, and for the amount of investment that it takes to get to that point, you don't really get much in return. So, I guess, in general, my problem is sort of that, like, there's not a lot of end game to Stardew Valley. There are some expensive things, you know, things that were added in 1.2. I don't want to spoil it too much, but, you know, the Wizard's buildings and the Return Scepter, both very good, very expensive items, or buildings, you know, as it were. And the other buildings in general are also kind of good. But the problem is that by the time you get them, they're kind of irrelevant, except for the Return Scepter, of course, which is super useful. And if I could get 2 million quickly, I would, just for that. But, just in general, the amount of effort that it takes to get to that point isn't worth the journey, or isn't worth the destination. I'm gonna eat the dandelions first. Here you can see fast animation going. Nice, nice and quick. So like I said, gonna be doing a lot of fishing this episode. Is there anything going on in here? Cultivate and harvest a parsnip. Talk to people. I'm not doing either of those, not on purpose at least. The parsnip one I'll get anyways, because I did plant my starter parsnips, but I'm not sure how much farming I'm going to be doing in this series. If I can start getting sprinklers, then I might do a lot of farming. That's what I did with my friends. We just had like 2 of us mining pretty much all the time once we got into summer and fall. And we put all of the resources we got from the mines towards getting sprinklers, like the quality sprinklers, the mid-tier ones. And, you know, we didn't go into the mines just randomly getting things and then doing it, but we would go in there specifically to find, you know, iron, gold, and quartz, and then we would make the quality sprinklers. So as a result, by the time we hit winter, of course by then there's no point because there aren't any crops by default in winter in Stardew, but there are mods that add them, not updated for 1.3 yet. By the time we hit the first winter, we had managed to get, how many was it? Like 70 quality sprinklers, each of which waters 8 tiles. So about 500 crops worth of, like 560 crops worth of sprinkler capacity. So by that point, you know, we're pretty much set. We just had to place them all down, buy the seeds, plant the seeds, and not even do the initial watering because we have to activate sprinklers. We just tap the sprinklers once each. So it's like super easy by that point to get tons of money because, you know, spring rolls around, you do cauliflower or strawberries if you planned ahead, or blueberries even would work. I think they changed blueberries and cranberries recently though because they don't seem to pay out as quickly. It used to be, and I was not looking forward to doing this because we had so many planted in fall. But cranberries used to harvest or be able to be harvested every other day. So, you know, it grows on the 9th or whatever, you harvest it and then you water it on the 10th and it's grown again on the 11th. Now it's like every 5 days. So there's a lot less profits. It's still fairly profitable. Like we made a lot of money off of that. But if they had kept the same harvest schedule as before, it would have been crazy. Which I guess is why they changed it. Just goes back to that thing. They don't reward you too much in this game for doing things. And they try to tone down how much you get rewarded. Which is not a game design policy that I like, but we have mods, so that can be fixed pretty easily. And, you know, you just have to hope that those mods that add in more endgame stuff. I'm actually planning on trying to create mods myself. I don't know if I can accomplish what I want to do. What I would like to do, though, is I'd like to mod the bus stop so that instead of just being like, hey, you want to take it to the desert, it's like, hey, you want to go to one of these places, and you could go to like a city, and then you could meet a bunch of new NPCs and have all kinds of late game stuff. I know it kind of defeats the purpose of Stardew, where you're like escaping the city and going out and living in the country, but I think it would be really cool to be able to go to the city whenever you want. Like, it would make sense. Slightly more sense than going to a desert, I guess. But we'll see. I don't know entirely if it's possible. I don't know if you can mod where the bus goes. It's possible, but I haven't looked into it too hard. And I don't know if there's any mods that already do it, or if it would cause conflictions. Or conflicts, not confliction. If it would cause conflicts with other mods. I have no idea. I'm going to look into it eventually. It doesn't seem too hard to mod Stardew, though. It's like pretty simple scripting. And after making my trivia game completely, and they used basically the same, I think they do use the same language. They use C#. It doesn't seem like it would be unmanageable to learn how to mod Stardew. Just got to learn all the references and stuff, set up an environment, and blah blah blah. I could probably figure it out and make a mod, and that would be really cool. But I don't know what I would put in a city. I was thinking, you know, a pretty obvious answer would be like a nightclub and probably some new stores where you could buy stuff. Maybe, if possible, like a fashion store, so you could go in there and buy outfits and such. That would be kind of cool. I don't know how you could justify other things, really, though. Like, it wouldn't make sense for them to sell things that would be useful on a farm in the big city, for the most part. Because, you know, it's the big city, not a farm. But maybe you could buy... I have no idea. It would probably mostly have to be cosmetic stuff, or stuff that's useful in a new way added by the mod instead of in base Stardew. It could be done, though. Or, I know for a fact you can add new maps, so it's just a question of whether or not I'd be able to change the bus to be able to go to multiple places, which I don't think should be too hard, because I imagine how the bus is set up is, it's like a dialogue, of course, and if you click the first option, it takes you to the desert, and if you click the second, then it just backs you out of the menu. So it should just be a matter of adding another dialogue option. So it's like option 1, go to the desert, option 2, go to the city. Plus maybe I could just make that its own thing, its own mod, like an API for other people to use. This is probably more valuable in the long run. Maybe more valuable than copper ore? Yeah. I don't know. Getting rid of the sardine is just a tiny bit of money gone. Let's eat this. And let's eat this. No, because I think that we won't fish long enough to deplete the energy we have, and go back to the farm. But if I could get the desert bus thing modded so that it's just an easy API, and you can easily add more locations, have like a pages thing so that there's support for lots of locations, then other people could add their own places that you can go to and not have it conflict with each other, and it'll be a good time. Adds lots of variety because the thing is, I like a lot of variety in games. I don't know why I said it like that. I like a lot of variety. So being able to have, theoretically infinite, but more likely however many get made, places to go, even if a lot of them have probably the same idea. Like, there are probably a lot of people who are like, hey, go to this city or this city. I think that would help extend the life of Stardew a lot, because you would have so much more to do and so much more to go and play with. Add in maybe more mini games, or like the ability to get small jobs that you can do that are mini games in the city or whatever. Like kind of a minimalistic version of Cook Serve Delicious or something like that, where you're making food for people. Have your own store, have your own restaurant. If you can go to a city, then there's all kinds of possibilities. Way more than the base game provides. And I mean, technically you could just create like an extended map or whatever, or place down a building somewhere and have that serve as the place for new things to happen. But I think, ooh, a diamond. That is definitely worth more than copper. And this is worth more than a horseradish. I'll fish like 2 more times probably, depending on what I get. The problem with just plopping down new buildings on the existing map is it doesn't really allow people to fully explore that area, if you know what I mean. Like, you can't have a ton of people all trying to do their own thing if you're competing for space on an existing map, and having multiple of them installed together conflicts with everything. Even if they aren't in the same place, it might still cause issues. I don't know how the loading only parts of maps work, but I imagine it's not too easy. So having something where you could just set up the bus and it's like, pay this much, go here, and then people can really expand on that and get lots of stuff working together and get all kinds of neat ideas from different people coming together in one place. So I think that would be a really cool thing to set up, and I would like to try and do that eventually. I'll probably have to start with trying to mod something much simpler in, of course, first. I don't know, like a scarecrow or something. Something like that. Start small, dream big. And we're going to go back to the farm now, after I have talked about this for like 17 minutes. Ooh, it suddenly stopped being foggy. So we got a pretty nice haul of fish. 2 silver star halibuts, 1 regular halibut, 4 sardines, anchovies, 5 sardines, 3 herring, lots of stuff. 2 geodes that we'll take to the blacksmith soon-ish, probably, and a diamond I'll take to the museum. It's like 3 more days, I think, assuming that there's no delays in the event happening, because of course you can only start going to do the community center stuff if it's sunny on like past the 5th day and you go into town before a certain time, like 9 a.m. or something, and then the event triggers. But the Climates of Ferngale mod makes it so that it's much more likely to rain in spring, so it might be delayed a tiny bit. I've had that happen on recent saves where I was playing, and it wasn't until like the 8th or 9th that we got the event. But it shouldn't be a problem, and we can see if the bundles have been changed. Whether or not they have will determine how we go forward. I'll try to fix it so that it is using the harder bundles, but I don't know if it'll be entirely possible. Anyways, this was Stardew Valley Modded 1.3 Episode 2. Hopefully you guys had fun watching, had fun listening. Leave your comments below on what you think about my Desert Bus mod idea, I guess. And I'll see you guys all next time.